Cubs are plus 1,000, but we do have an expanded playoff system this year, right? And the Cubs have slightly better odds at plus 500 to make the postseason. They did have one of the more intriguing offseason signings. You mentioned it by bringing in Japanese star Seiya Suzuki. But Nick, is that enough to make the Cubs a legit playoff contender?
No, this is the team that has to prove it to me throughout the course of the season. I do think their win total is 75.5. This is the last one. I will say that for sure. You can take the over on this one. Again, just looking at what the division had last year, I think the Reds were in third place with like 83, 81 wins. I do think the Cubs will be the third best team in the division, adding Suzuki, adding Stroman. I know that Miley ended up getting waived by the Reds at the end of the season after a horrendous September, but he was actually pretty solid throughout the majority of the season. Just a few hiccups here and there until September, which things got pretty brutal. But when we look at the expanded playoffs right now, I mean, Braves, Phillies, Mets, Brewers, Cardinals, Giants, Dodgers, Padres are the teams that I have kind of messing around in this. The Cubs would be right on the outskirts of that, but not enough where I'm going to go and take them. I mean, plus 500, if you're a Cubs fan, maybe, but that's really about it. Also, Kyle Hendricks, big question mark. 3 good months last year and 3 horrendous months. So a lot of question marks with this team as much as they made some good additions.
All right, Matt, enough to make you think the Cubs are a legit playoff contender with this signing, or do you have to wait and see?
Yeah, not really. I mean, I'd honestly even lean more towards the no side at minus 700 to not make the playoffs. And it's kind of what Nick was just alluding to, where I just don't buy this pitching staff. I think the offense could be good with Suzuki. I think there are some young hitters on this team that potentially could break out this year, like Frankie Schwindel and Patrick Wisdom, who looked really good at times last year, but I don't really buy Ian Happ and Nick Madrigal. The middle infield on this team, I think, is pretty far below average. And Andrelton Simmons, assuming he's the starter at shortstop, hasn't been the defensive standout that he was earlier in his career, and he's never been a good hitter. So I think there's a lot of holes in this roster. But yeah, having this veteran pitching staff with really no true ace, I think Marcus Stroman is solid. I think he's an above average starter, but he's not great. And then after him, there's a pretty sizable drop-off with guys who I think you'd be happy with as your number 5 starter in Hendricks and Miley and Drew Smiley also, maybe Alec Mills, but even he, I'm not sure is a rotation starter. So the pitching staff is really the big problem here. The bullpen was really bad last year too. So even if the offense is exciting with Suzuki, I think that being down on this team makes sense just because of how bad the pitching is.